property code sign.
That's part of this.
Well,
It's also campaigning contract.
You work on the property.
Apparently.
I knew,
Well, normally we see one in our.
Okay, welcome everyone to the Maitland City Council meeting of August 12th, 2024. Please, if you would, silence your phones. If you would, please join me in a moment of silence. We'll be that way. Thank you. And now, if you would, and willing and able, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right off the bat, we're going to get into our business of the public hearing. Ordinance number 1429. Dan, would you introduce the item for us, please? Oh, I'm sorry, yes. We'll read the title of the ordinance. City Clerk, please read the title of the ordinance.
Ordinance number 1429, an ordinance of the City of Maitland, Florida, vacating and abandoning a portion of Ellington Drive, lying east of Lot 5, as shown on the plat of Palm Cove, as recorded in Plat Book 8, page 108, lying in the northwest quarter of Section 30, Township 21, Range 30 East, more particularly described in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, recording, and an effective date.
Okay, thank you, Lori. Dan Mathis, would you please introduce the item for us?
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. So just as a quick reminder, the applicants, Wendy and Eric Thompson of 1039 Quinwood Lane, submitted an application for a right-of-way abandonment for about a 3,300 square foot portion of Ellington Drive just east of their property. Mr. Thompson is here in the audience if you have any questions afterwards. Just a quick reminder, the highlighted piece is their property, and the property just to the east of that small sliver is what they're requesting to vacate. It's that little piece highlighted there. On May 15th, 2024, DRC unanimously recommended to forward this to council with a recommendation of approval subject to two conditions that have been met. And on July 22nd, council introduced this ordinance and set tonight for the public hearing and action date. And with that, staff recommends council adopt the ordinance 1429 vacating a portion of Ellington Drive. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Does anybody have any questions of Dan?
Well, I don't know if it's a question, Dan, but we talked about doing the whole piece, right?
Correct.
Are we gonna piecemeal that together, or I thought we were gonna do it all?
So staff has met with the four other property owners along Ellington Drive, and we have a meeting set up with them for Monday the 26th. So we're going to be meeting with all of them, talking to them about the options of vacating it holistically. They'll come in, the next four all together in theory. So we'll know more after the 26th what everyone's intentions are, but we did go out and speak to each one of the property owners.
So we'll be doing this again when they come in.
Yeah, hopefully just one more time. Hopefully they'll all come in together.
Okay, anybody else? Questions of Dan? Okay, well, let's open the public comment period. Does anybody in the public want to have their say on this item before us? Mr. Thompson? Okay.
Good, unless you have any questions.
Well, if you'd like to, or to come up, you can come up, but I don't think anybody has any questions. We're good. All right, thank you for coming, though. Let's close the public period, and if there's any further discussion, we'll just do that. If not, motion will be in order. Do we have any discussion?
Do we plan to do anything back? I mean, do we do any maintenance back there now?
I don't believe we do. It's just undisturbed.
So this won't change anything, like to advance the point of doing these. This is just. Okay, I'll make a motion to move to adopt ordinance number 1429, vacating and abandoning a portion of Ellington Drive as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Laura, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Hall Harrison? Aye. Councilmember Guthrie?
Aye.
Councilmember Wurzel? Aye. Councilmember Wild?
Aye.
Mayor Lowndes?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Congratulations, Mr. Thompson, on your new larger yard. Any old business, Mark?
No, sir.
Okay. Consent agenda. Does anybody wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Does anyone from the public wish to comment on consent items 3 through 5? All right, I'm seeing none, so let's close the public comments. Or no, let's open the public comment period. That was just a removal of items. Or comments on those. Let's close the public comment period, and if there's no further discussion, a motion will be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, Lori, would you call the roll?
Councilmember Wurzel.
Aye.
Councilmember Hall Harrison.
Aye.
Councilmember Wild.
Aye.
Councilmember Guthrie.
Aye.
Mayor Lowndes.
Aye. Public period. Let's open the public period. Anybody? Anybody at all? Okay, let's close the public period. And we're down to decisions. And Dan Mathis is back up. Dan, you want to take it, or is this Mark?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So this is the discussion on downtown density. Of course, just to remind you, the reason why we're doing this is that we do need, as a city, to continue to attract development and redevelopment in our CRA, keep that moving. The CRA area has been kind of stagnated the last few years. So as you recall, back in April, I came to you, the staff came to you to discuss the density, just kind of a broad overview of what we were thinking about. At that meeting, we discussed 3 problems that were identified: is that DICE is ineffective. Without DICE, the by right densities were too low to make any projects viable, and that the density in FAR based on parcel size, the way we've been doing it the last 25 years, while it worked back then, is ineffective now for a variety of reasons. So what we're recommending is to eliminate the DICE program. It was, as you recall, an incentive program to replace the old bonus density program. Unfortunately, the DICE was very unpredictable and lengthy and expensive, so we didn't have any takers on it. It also discouraged developments and redevelopments within our CRA. We also talked about eliminating maximum density based on property size. We discussed that there was some missed opportunities for some redevelopment for infill projects, and while it did serve a purpose in the past, it wasn't really effective anymore, and that is the only place in the city where we do density and FAR this way. So the last thing we talked about was setting the maximum density based on, for the overall future land use, for the overall Main Street future land use designation. With the elimination of DICE, the densities are too low, by right densities are too low to encourage any redevelopment or development in the CRA. And allowing this to get rid of it by parcel size would attract new businesses that provide a variety of goods and services to Maitland residents close to home. And it also creates that critical mass that's important to a thriving downtown that we've experienced the last few years, including the First Friday events, the movies in the park, farmers markets, things that Jay have really made a very successful downtown down here. So staff's request is that we're seeking council direction on a preferred maximum density and intensity in the Main Street for the preparation of our data inventory and analysis to submit to the state through our required evaluation and appraisal report. Staff is recommending, for the purpose of the EARD DIA, is that council provide direction for staff to eliminate the DICE program, eliminate the maximum density and FAR based on accumulated adjacent parcel size, and set the maximum by right density at 65 dwelling units per acre and FAR at 2.4 throughout the Main Street future land use designation. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dan. Somebody have any questions of Dan?
I don't know if this might be more for Mark, but don't we need to do all 3 of these separate? I mean, the DICE thing, it's independent of itself, and
Well, it's all contained within the comp plan, so we just need to notify the state of what we're doing, and then we go through the actual gathering the information, providing that, going through the hearing process, updating the comp plan, then the land development code, and that you'll get public input.
yeah, but I'm saying when we vote, I mean, can we vote to do all 3 of those, or do we need to vote to say, all right, we need to put a vote in to eliminate the DICE program, or can we do that with one motion?
Yeah, we can just do one motion. All we're requesting is that you provide us direction to send a letter to the state that we intend to amend our comp plan under the EAR process. That's the first step in the EAR process.
I think we all might have talked to Dan and Mark. I think that the parcel size makes sense to get rid of the parcel size issue at this point. I think dealing with the certain issues elsewhere, I think 65 units seems to be a number. I think my concern was, and we talked about the neighboring properties that could get affected by this. And when we got rid of, I think all of you know, when we got rid of the districts, there used to be a variety of districts in downtown, and you could map out different districts with different densities. Now with one kind of uniform standard, my concern to Dan and Mark was just the effect this could have when some of this is right up next to residential. And so we talked as part of this process that there would be also a concern and effort to put in having height limitations and density, whatever they could, to make sure that density didn't get abutting to some of the residential areas that I think this might be a surprise if they got 65 units to the acre in their backyard. So we talked about that. So that would be, I think we can accomplish that in talking to Dan. We can accomplish that other than just having lower density. There's ways to get there. So, but I do think that the uniformity of the downtown poses just some problems that we have to deal with other ways, in my opinion.
Don't we have that in our land development code though, that when, you know?
We do, but it's, I think, when I talked to Dan, it sounds like you go, I don't know, Dan, if you looked at this again, but I think it's 3 stories, pretty close to a property line. And if you look at, there are a couple of properties out there that if you got 65 units to the acre and 3 stories right up next to the wall of an adjacent neighborhood, it might look pretty high.
Right.
And so there's especially if it's 65 units, that can get pretty dense. Obviously, if it's right here, it's a less of an issue than if it's potentially 25 feet from a single-story residential that has a pool in the backyard. So I think that was what we talked about, and I think I'm confident that Dan's skills will bake in some of that protection elsewhere in the code.
I think that this is a very, very well thought out plan to try and head off some of the concerns that I think we all see are out there. But I have strongly believed that improving our downtown is going to require more density. And as we know, in order to be able to increase the usability of our downtown, we have to bring in more people, we have to bring in more businesses. And I think that this is a very sane approach to doing it. And I'm glad to see that this proposal is coming forward. You know, one of the things that has really been sort of disappointing is the slow progress that we've been able to make in the downtown to revitalizing some of the vacant lots and turning over some of the space that really could be better utilized in a different way. And I think my dream for a downtown Maitland is that everybody can walk everywhere to get to the grocery store, to get to the post office, to get to the library. And I look forward to having more of those opportunities created within our downtown. I commend you, Dan, for the hard work that you and your staff have done to get us to this point. So I'm in favor of your recommendations.
Okay, anybody else? Yeah, and so this, just to be clear, is really just, you're looking for direction to write a letter to the state to tell them that we're thinking about doing this. And so in concept, we can do less than we tell them we're going to do. We can't do more than we're going to do.
That's correct. The letter is due to the state September 1st. That basically says that we either are or we are not changing our comp plan. But it also, we still have to do the data inventory analysis because the state has changed the rules on how the period of time we have to do the DIA. So this is, as you indicated, it's just setting that top bar. We can come down, but this is just to get us to tell the state what we're thinking about doing, and so we can prepare our data inventory analysis based on a density and FAR. But when it goes through that process, then we have a year to do the year-based amendments. At that point, we can lower it if we want to, but that's when all the real votes and talking about the density happens.
And in the short term, as we talked about, one of the problems I think that it may be a hurdle, Mr. Lindsay was talking about the, slow progress in downtown. One of the hurdles is linking the density to the size of the parcel. And the sooner we can change that, the better, I think. And we talked about the concern that this all gets wrapped up and that might slow it down if there's a faster way to get it done, if we can change that without messing up our the rest of the year report. I'd be for doing that. I don't want to lose any good projects that come along just because that's the one hurdle that we can clear and get it done quickly.
Absolutely, and while we do have a year to do the year-based amendments, we're going to try to get them done as fast as we can.
I agree with John on that. Whatever we can do to speed up that, I think that would be good.
Okay. Is anybody from the public? We now have a member of the public with us, so we hate to put you on the spot. But if you'd like to, we would love to hear from you on this or any other. Well, no, this item is really just. Sorry, this is. Nobody from the public? Okay. Let's close the public comment. And any further discussion?
Do you need a vote? Is this what?
Yes, it's a discussion.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I would make a motion to support staff's efforts to move forward with the comp plan amendments as presented. Is that sufficient?
Yep.
Second.
Well, in concert with the staff recommendation here, which is that staff
Yeah, I
direct staff to inform the DOE of the city's intention to eliminate the National Community Center.
Yes, I meant to be as broad as possible to say I would accept staff recommendation as on the board there, but I'll do whatever you all think is necessary in that motion.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Mark, you need anything more than that?
Now, that's a motion to direct staff to draft a letter to the
Department of Commerce now.
Department of Commerce now.
Is that who it is now?
They changed their name again.
Notifying them that we intend to amend the comp plan with the items specifically outlined in the staff report for you tonight.
Okay.
That's what I said.
That's exactly what you said.
There we
That's what I
go.
heard.
You got all that now, sir? Is that all very clear? Excellent. Would you like to call the roll?
Councilmember Wurzel?
Aye.
Councilmember Wild?
Aye.
Councilmember Guthrie?
Aye.
Councilmember Hall Harrison?
Aye.
Councilmember Lau?
Aye.
Sorry, Mayor. I was on a roll, sorry.
I know. It's nice. You got a long time. Okay, so our next decision is 1792 mobility improvements. Mark, would you like to?
Sure, just real quickly, as you know, I've been keeping you informed of the discussions that have been ongoing with the Department of Transportation regarding the Maitland area-wide study. We've basically brought that to a conclusion and moving into the phase 2 of that, working with the Metropolitan Planning Organization to dig a little bit deeper into that so we can have some projects come out of that effort to improve mobility in the downtown area. However, as part of the 1792 repaving project, which is going to be designed in 2025 and then constructed in 2027, the department has approached the city regarding 2 intersections that are viable for improvements. The first is shown on your screen here, which is the Packwood intersection over 1792. As you all know, the north crosswalk does not exist right now. It's a pretty straightforward improvement there to make that happen. The signalization's in place, or just some pedestals that are missing, and obviously when they do the repaving project, everything gets restriped. So that would take care of that, to make that a full intersection, to get people back and forth between the bank and Maitland City Center. And on the next slide, there is a intersection at the very north end of the downtown area with Mayo and the Greenwood slip ramp. Shown in this diagram, what DOT is shown at least schematically is having a crosswalk at 1792 to tie Mayo into Greenwood with a pedestrian refuge there, and then making improvements to that north-south connector. Right now, there's only crosswalks across Mayo and across Greenwood, connecting north-south along 1792, but no east-west connector. So as part of the paving project, they said those would be viable. We do have funding right now, the cost for those projects, because we'd be partnering with them on the design and the construction, would be $700,000. $300,000 would be the design in 2025, and a commitment to fund the other $400,000 for construction in 2027 when they move forward with the project. This will be done through a separate agreement that we would enter into with the department. What they're looking for now is direction from the city as to whether they should put this in the RFQ that's getting ready to go out to bid for this project. So they just know we'd like to participate with them as they move through the project, so they can include these two intersections within the scope or not. So that can answer any questions on this.
Is that a fixed cost that once we're locked in, or are they going to change the price once it goes up?
They gave us three separate options. One would be a fixed cost, one would be a variable cost, the cost would go up or down. Alyssa thinks that the design and construction at Packwood would be less than what they're quoting us right now, because really it's just putting in a pedestal and some striping. So, and the cost at Greenwood here and Mayo with some adjustments to because that would include relocation of a drainage structure that's sort of in the way, but Alyssa again thinks that we could work around that drainage structure with the existing curb that's there. So there's three different options they gave us. One would be a fixed cost or not to exceed cost. One would be the actual cost of construction, and the other would be sort of a hybrid between the two, depending on the design and the construction. But we would have to negotiate that, and that would come back to you for review once we get that ironed out. The idea is that we would be able to benefit from the fact that the contractor would be mobilized already to the site to make these improvements. So these are the improvements that came out of the Maitland area-wide study, basically.
My question would be, does it really cost, they're just literally going to stripe Packwood?
And add the pedestrian pedestal.
And that's going to cost, we're going to end up costing $750,000.
That's for both projects.
Okay.
700
This
for
one looks a
both.
little more complex.
Yeah, this one is, because you're working around some actual infrastructure there. There is some actual construction going on. And that's why I want to point out that when we met with DOT on this, Alyssa had already talked to the folks at the Oviedo Maintenance Office that indicated that this intersection was already set up for that, minor improvements. And folks from DeLand hadn't had those conversations, so that's sort of the beauty of Alyssa talking to both sides. So those costs could be significantly reduced once they dig into it and actually see what they need to do.
Well, clearly the intersection out here at Packwood needs help. I mean, it's not very pedestrian friendly at all, so I don't think anything we can do to improve that, improve safety on that corner for cars and pedestrians, actually. It's just going to be free for all.
We just gotta wait till 2027.
Yeah, right. And none of this is coming out of mobility fees. We don't have.
We earmarked mobility fees for Mechanic Street in the fourth year of the 5-year capital plan. So it could come out of mobility fees, but these are both projects within the CRA. Mechanic Street's not in the CRA, so it's not those funds aren't available for Mechanic Street. So there's a little more flexibility with CRA funds here.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments, questions?
I think these are good ideas. I'd love to see something at Horatio as well. We talked about that, Mark.
Yep.
It'd also be great if they would reduce the speed limit. Those are just, I know they're not asking for that, but this and some other more pedestrian friendly things would be great.
Okay. Does anybody from the public have any comments on this? No pressure. Okay. All right. Well, let's close the public comment period then. And if there's no further discussion, the motion will be in order.
And that motion would be similar to the last motion, a motion to direct staff to draft a letter to the Department of Transportation notifying the department that the city is willing to participate in these two projects with the paving project scheduled for 2027.
That's my motion.
There we go. Staff recommendation.
Yeah, staff recommendation.
Yeah, I'll second that really, really eloquent motion that Vance just made.
I'm good with those.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion and a second, Lori.
Councilmember Wild,
Aye.
Councilmember Guthrie,
Aye.
Councilmember Hall Harrison,
Aye.
Councilmember Wurzel,
Aye.
Mayor Longfellow.
Aye. Okay, 2 letters going out. That's it for serious business. Do we have any reports? Certainly could be very serious, what you have to tell us.
Nothing today.
All right, Mr. City Manager.
Nothing, sir.
Yes, sir.
Council, anybody? Okay, good. We are adjourned then.